A child needs to delight in the shapes she sees in the clouds. He needs to feel water on his face and the sand between his toes. A child must move from here to there, mix blue and green. She must dig a hole.
Children, when they're very young, need an opportunity to explore, to utilize all their senses, and to really discover the joy of being, as well as be able to experience the joy of their natural curiosity and their ability to know and find out about the world in a way that's relaxed and in a way that really cultivates a joy in learning for them that can last for their lifetime.
People just don't know about the importance and the value of having children outdoors. They don't know about the challenges of obesity, diabetes, attention deficit disorder, and the drugs that go along with it, the obsession with electronic media, the fact that babies shouldn't be watching television because it affects their brainwave patterns and makes it more difficult for them to learn. People don't know about this.
At a time when hands-on, discovery-based, inquiry-oriented learning is finding its way to the center of the stage, the outdoor environment and program, along with the philosophy that guides it, can be the centerpiece of quality early care and education. A simple way to make it so is to think of it as the outdoor classroom.
We want to have the indoor classroom open directly into the outdoor classroom. We want them to be free-flowing. So we call that concept an indoor-outdoor flow. And what that allows is it allows children to select where they're learning, and their development is going to be optimized. So on some days you'll be here and it'll be a beautiful day and you'll see children indoors. And you'll say, why aren't they doing the outdoor classroom? Well, because on that day the children are doing the indoor classroom, and that's what's working best for them. We want every activity that's indoors to be available outdoors. That's a fundamental precept of the idea of the outdoor classroom. Because what that does is it optimizes the child's opportunity to learn from what the outdoors has to offer, in terms of running, in terms of exploring nature, in terms of creating activities like mud and water play that they couldn't possibly do indoors. Children learn best when they are following their interest and their inclination.
To see children be able to act on their own ideas, be engaged in activities that are personally meaningful for them, to develop skills, to master tasks, and the joy that you see in them when they accomplish something just creates tremendous joy for me.
Children are experts at creating learning experiences for themselves when adults allow their efforts and then support their learning.
And hopefully do that in an organic or natural place outside, without electronics, without Game Boys and Nintendos, and without screens in front of their faces.
It turns out that the single biggest factor in making the outdoor classroom work is not the physical environment. It's the attitude of the teachers. Because if they have the positive attitude that they want to make it work, then they find a way to make it work.
It's very important that there's a responsible adult that has an understanding of human development and how children learn, to really facilitate and to challenge them.
So the balance that a teacher has to play in that environment is being close enough to be kind of the magnet that draws children to the activity, but being distant enough so that the children can act on their own initiative. And it's finding that balance that really becomes the magic of an engaged teacher. the children become much easier to work with. You don't really have to manage the children in the kind of environment we're talking about. They manage themselves. They engage themselves in the activity. And the teacher becomes a facilitator and becomes a question answer, becomes, in a sense, a provocateur. What would happen if you did this with this? Really moves into being a true teacher in that role. And they stop thinking about the idea of, oh, I'm a supervisor and I have to manage or contain things. And they see themselves more as a partner in the learning activity that's going on. They start seeing that environment as a learning environment rather than as some sort of a recess that has to be managed. And this doesn't happen overnight. You just can't turn a switch and make that happen. You've got to give people a chance to talk about usually what's not working for them. Because usually there's reasons why they're not going outside. It's too hot, it's too cold, there's not enough equipment, they don't know how to set up activities, they don't have storage. Storage is always the first thing I look at because we're asking them to bring activities outdoors. If they physically have to do that, that's a lot of work. And so I think that we just simply need to start talking with people, spreading the word, showing them how it can be done. And I believe that we'll get a lot of support, and that 10 years from now, we'll be looking at a much different environment where the rule of thumb will be that children have great outdoor spaces.
We hope in our work with the Outdoor Classroom Project, both here at this center and with other centers, that we are raising the important question about the importance of the natural world to human beings and to human beings' development, and that we're encouraging people to really look with new eyes at its value.
The land is there, the children are there, and all we need to do is make it really work for their benefit. And that's what the Outdoor Classroom Project is all about.